Hi everyone, this is Angela Hooper. I'm back with the second reading that I promised you. This is the second Wednesday of April 2020, and it is National Poetry Month. And I wanted to bring to you some more poems that are going to be in my new book, which is going to be Where the Sky is a Wall. And today I wanted to share with everyone a poem for our caregivers. I know all of us are very concerned about our caregivers right now. The kind of stress they're under and the decisions they're having to make are very hard. I want to share a pair that I wrote for my sister for Easter. And then I'd like to, for my last poem, I'd like to share a poem that I wrote for my mother a long time ago. So first things first, I'd like to read for you a poem that I wrote in a workshop last fall. Thank you very much, Dr. Mish. And it is called a persona poem. And what I was doing here was trying to get a different perspective. In this case, I had to go through the very unfortunate experience of having to sign papers to have my brother taken off life support. He had gone through surgery for a hernia and unfortunately had had a stroke in his brainstem. And if any of you have ever been through that, it's gut-wrenching because there's really not much that you can do for someone you love at that moment. And I wanted to read it because what I did to inject understanding for me in this situation was to put myself into what I felt like the physician had to have been feeling. And I feel like the poem is really relevant as we think about our caregivers and what they're doing right now. And just to understand that a lot of them are having to make horrendous decisions and that it's never an easy decision. And I just want to give them a shout out for having the heart and the courage to make those decisions. So without further ado, this one is called Doctor's Orders, and it's for the intern who had to sign the order to take my brother off life support, and that was June 21st, 2014. My name is not important. I have a tag for that on my chest. My white coat is my identity. I do not need to be announced. I am here because I was always supposed to be. I was appointed from birth. They keep coming. So many weazened lungs, hearts grown too thick to beat, and their families, desperate for hope I cannot give. I hate the Saturdays. They follow Friday nights when emergency surgeries run into early morning in an effort to clear the board for the weekend. I try to stick to my present where I can attempt to control the outcomes. They do not accept death. I expect death, though I will always fight, except that Saturday night, after I spent the day saving her brother's life, she gave it up, signed the papers. I complied with my signature. Then she hunted me down and thanked me for the preservation of his dignity. I broke the rules. I hugged her back. Give every caregiver and your family extra props right now. They're going through a lot, and as a nation, they deserve our recognition. From that, I would like to read a couple of Easter poems for you. The first one that I would like to read for you is one that I would say is probably the Black Friday portion of Easter, but it's still a very beautiful poem. It was written with a lot of love. This is Easter 2017. As I back out against the traffic, I try not to mourn the beautiful language we once shared. My shell, fingered and pricked, shattered by awkward pauses. Before I left, you told me to go home and write about the journey, how shattered eggs can miraculously fill up to become whole again. I am a reluctant Christian. I feel every pebble of this road on the bottom of my pink and tender feet. I resent the changes in the asphalt, the whiteness of the concrete, the shattered eggs that once held our yellow yolks. I drove home without the radio. I want to remember the sound of your violin before he stole everything that made those bright strings ring, before his death reconfigured us. And the second poem, Easter poem I would like to read for you is about a cat that my sister and I shared. We were living together at the time, and I brought this cat home. I had picked it up at of all things, a flea market, and there was somebody with a box of cats. And so I brought this cat back to our apartment, and she was all like, hell to the no. But by the time I moved out, the two of them had bonded. So anyway, she was a gorgeous little black thing, and we both loved her dear. And this was written, unfortunately, when she passed. But remember, this is the poem about transformation. Raven, our black angel. The blooms of the redbuds are small and tight this year. There has not been enough rain to penetrate root systems. They have come to remind us that there is still life. We want the turgid displays of more spectacular days past. We are greedy to count the dead like blossoms that fall. Foolish girls, we see her as gone, but she has only changed. And the last poem I'd like to read for you is something that I wrote for my mother, and I think it's a good poem for us to think about too, just because a lot of us are in close quarters with people, and I'm horrified to read about all of the domestic abuse that's happening right now, and it just makes me cringe. But, you know, sometimes we've got to learn forgiveness, and I hope that that's in people's hearts right now. So anyway, this is for my mother, and I hope it gives your heart something. For my mother, Sue Ann Clemens Smith. Technically, it is the rapid oxidation of material in the process of combustion, the release of light and heat, energy expended for the sole purpose of consumption. The flame is only the visible part. We lost our fingers and toes there, both of us forced to support our weight on disfigured limbs that snap and fray with pressure. I learned to see it as the skulls of the Pol Pot stacked in neat pyramids to be worshipped and feared, a million lips sealed shut. This morning on my walk, I saw a garden path lined with stones, smooth and hard, secured by the ground, that still holds treasures of the fire could not destroy. And I realized that some things can actually be properly mourned. To all of you with heavy hearts, know that we all care about you. Know that you will come through this. This is really a trying time for all of us. I'd like to wish Happy Easter to every one of you, and to those of you who are also going to be recognizing Passover. We're all in this together. Thank you very much for listening. Peace out to everyone. Thank you.